Hi, Tom.
Hello and welcome. Here we are again, Tuesday, our usual time as long as I'm traveling. And welcome, Marianne. And in our conversation yesterday, we sort of zeroed in on awareness and what becomes possible if we choose awareness. So, my question for you to start out with is, are you choosing awareness?
Mm,
And what does it change for you if you choose awareness?
Thank you, Karina. Great question. And hi again. Oh, am I choosing awareness? That's my target. I'm I'm I made really that demand of myself to
Yeah.
be aware. Do I choose it every 10 seconds? Perhaps I can go further with that. Not
Oh, me
quite
too.
in totally, but yeah, I choose awareness because, when I started to choose more awareness, so much changed in my reality
Mm.
as more joy, more space, in a way, more ease, as not the same as easily, but because that's something different. But yeah, it changed a lot, and it opened up so much more, as though before choosing awareness, there was so much more of separation of everything I was aware of, as though putting it aside and as far as possible, so then it doesn't exist. And I was in the idea at that time that when it is not in my awareness, when I'm putting it aside, then there is more space to be,
Mm.
which now, being more aware and allowing myself to be with that awareness, I notice that it is really the opposite of what I thought. That when I pull it aside, there is so much more contraction, there is so much more intensity, as yeah, everything is calling me in, calling my attention, because I am pulling it aside and aside and aside, but the awareness is there, and I'm saying, no, you aren't there. Yes, we are here. No, we are. You aren't here. So it's like a fight we do with ourselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, it can be quite uncomfortable being aware and allowing awareness, but at the same time, it is so, yeah, it gives me so much more joy and space and ease and joy.
Can I ask a question? Is the discomfort that you're talking about just initially when we sort of feel flooded with the awareness and it goes away when we become accustomed to the amount of awareness and not have that sensation, oh, there is awareness, there's awareness, there's awareness, but it is just like the field that surrounds us is just awareness, and we may pick, I'm paying more attention or respond to this awareness because of whatever reason, and the rest is just being in the ocean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything is then, as though when you put it aside, as yeah, you define it as too ugly or too difficult or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
you define it as. So I did it. I pushed it away. So I because also it's all from judgment and definition, pulling it aside, as though when I have the idea, the definition of myself, that I am wrong, but everything around me is going to show me what I defined as wrong. And there is a knowing underneath it that it isn't wrong. So that is the true awareness, that is the true knowing. But with the definition I have about everything around it, I have to put it aside. And then I don't have to go with it. I don't have to deal with it, because isn't that what we often think and have the idea of, that what we are aware of, we have to do something with it.
About, yes.
And that changed a lot, as allowing, as you say, it's flowing around, and you don't have to catch it or to grab it or to grasp it. You don't have to, to do. We are so beings of doing. We grow up with doing.
Yeah.
And when you not do something, then you have to put it aside. There is no other way, because being, we are not growing up with.
Yeah.
And when we are being, then we allow also the awarenesses, is my point of view, how I experience it. How is that for you?
For me, it's what I just realized is this is even as simple as something, oh, I'm not really happy. Let me choose happiness. It brings in the possibility of choice, that if I'm not, and a year ago, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have noticed I'm not happy. And so I didn't even have, probably back then I would have wondered this, what do I need? Where do I need to be? What do I need to do in order to get happy? Because it was external.
Yeah.
And now I can just, oh, I'm not really happy. Let me just choose that. And
you
can
said
see the
something
shift.
interesting. Yeah, sorry, I interrupt you, because I
Yeah.
want to extend a little about something you said. It was not even in those words, but nearly you said, when before you weren't even aware, or it wasn't passing by your head, knowing that you weren't happy, as though it was the normal state. And that's an interesting energy, as I recognize that also it is, as we pull aside our awareness, we exclude everything of us at the same time. So then we go with whatever there is going on, not even having clarity, having it clear about ourselves, that we aren't happy. And that is something, as I spoke of, the more awareness, the more joy is coming in, is coming from that space also of, then I can, at least I notice it. Who am I being? Who is this from? It's not me, because I am happy. And then the other aspect that you threw in with that was the choice.
Yeah.
So how is it? Because I can imagine, and I experience that when you speak about, you can choose to be happy, then people look at you as, what are you telling? Choosing happiness. What is that? What is that for you, Karina? Choosing happiness.
For me, it really is this becoming aware of there is more in that arena of happiness possible, and me choosing it. It is just, I'd like to have more of that, more happiness, and then just allowing the energy to shift. And I can perceive how my energy is shifting and expanding, and there, how do I describe it? On some level, it just is.
Yeah.
And I can perceive it.
Yeah.
I mean, I woke up this during the night, and I'm visiting a friend who told me, because I called her yesterday, that I'm coming today. And she said, "Yeah, that's great that you're coming. Perfect timing. I'm just getting out of a depression." And so there was the awareness of me in me that I cannot take away her depression. That is a choice that she is making based on whatever.
Yeah.
But I can be the energy of happiness and joy. And so my agenda, in a way, was to just be happier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I hear you. It's not in a quick fix explainable. What is choosing? It
Yeah.
is awareness, and it is something you perceive also. And due to asking more questions, I got also clear about what it is choosing joy, choosing happiness, as though when there is something and I feel down, or and it often is in the morning, I can wake up like
Mm-hmm.
heaviness and a sadness, and there is now immediately I know this is not me. This is not me. What is going on? Where am I tapping in? Where am I aware of? And only asking those questions is making me aware that I can choose
Yeah.
different. That is the perceiving at that time. And even though I'm not literally knowing from who or what is that sadness coming, as though there is a lot going on in the world, it's not difficult, but we don't have to know really that it is from A, B, or C. That's not required. The question, asking the question, opens up so much more. So then there is the awareness that I can choose different. And because I love my happiness, I love the joy I'm truly am, then I'm going for that. And then I'm saying, really, I'm having that. And that opens a lot more. The more present I be, the easier it is for me to be happy with no storyline or definition. So true. So true. And as Diana says, no, it's not Diana, it's Daria. Daria,
Daria.
Daria. Like the real me is effortless. That that it's effortless. Everything is flowing, everything is going, and that is who we are. And yeah, my happiness can show different than your happiness, and Daria's happiness That's the uniqueness we are also,
Mm-hmm.
but everything that is going with some force, some contraction, nowadays it is really an alarm bell. Yes, go
And
on.
that is, I think, that is a key thing is if I choose happiness, I am more expensive.
Yeah, that effortless that
Yep,
Daria is
yep,
speaking about, it effortless is really flowing,
yep,
going. There is lightness. There
yep,
is a lightness also. Yeah. And that we can choose no matter what is going on. I
exactly.
can remember, things I had to deal with that it wasn't that comfortable, and it had a lot of intention because the people involved in that were really intense with it.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, I chose for myself to go with it with the lightness I can choose and be in
Yeah.
that moment.
And during my trip, I had those situations where I was dealing with adversity. Things didn't go the way I would have liked them to
Yeah,
go. And despite of that, it didn't touch the happiness that I chose.
yeah, yeah. And that is so true. Nothing, nothing, no one
Yeah.
can, yeah, can break up that happiness because that's who we are. That's our nature. Our
Mm-hmm.
nature is happiness. And nevertheless, I'm saying it now with there is no doubt in my world to say my natural state is happiness. Going back years ago, there was a knowing that I am a happy girl at the time, a happy woman. But I couldn't, in a way, looked like I couldn't remember myself that happiness
Mm. Yeah.
because of the definitions, because of the rules, because of the structures I put myself in, and yeah, I hold on to several ideas, definitions, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is, expectations also, projections, not knowing that, yeah, what is knowing? When we speak about knowing, then it is beyond the cognitive mind,
Yeah.
the knowing. So from that knowing, I knew I wasn't me. But somehow from the definitions I had and I took on, and as I say, yeah, the rules of this reality, as in a marriage, you marry and then you have to stick even more when you have children, and you blah 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 blah, you know what it is about, all those things. So because I made that so real, all those definitions were so real that they ruled my life, even though I knew, and that was the knowing of really knowing from the being, that there was another possibility, that everything there was not me, everything I was living was not me. But we fight against it, and then we are gonna look for solutions, and yeah, what are we doing? And
Yep.
questions, asking questions. I didn't knew about it. It was more like, yeah, how can I resolve it? Where I have to go to? Who or what can help me with this? Or those type of questions, which are not questions
Yep.
because there are so many conclusions in it. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
what, you know, the question that often comes is what is awareness? And there, awareness can be that I'm thinking of somebody that requires uh, a contribution from me. And somebody just pops in. I don't have to know why. Sorry, I need to bend down. I just got the warning for low
Then you
battery.
have to plug in.
Yes, so I don't disappear. Okay. Magic disappearance.
Yes, yes.
Because the
And the
computer shuts down.
disappearing is, you can't really disappear, but you disappear.
Yeah. But we it's that somebody is popping in that we need to call, or we know ahead of time who is calling us. And it's being aware. Also, there is because I'm just thinking how many people are talking about the earth and the earth being in dire straits and the earth being this, that, and the other, and we need to help the earth, we need to save the earth.
Oh, yeah.
There is a level of awareness that these people have that something could be different, yet is the earth in danger, or are we in danger with what we're doing? And the earth is calling our attention to it. And am I aware of the earth calling attention to something, to behavior that is not serving humankind, so to speak?
Yeah.
That something needs to change. It can be an awareness of, oh, I, while doing this drive across the U.S., there were oftentimes the awareness, wait a second, this driver is going to do something funny. And I'm saying funny right now because it was a little bit more specific during the situation, and each situation obviously was different. But there was an awareness to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could either slow down, I could adjust what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so awareness comes in so many forms. And if we are willing to be aware, it truly surrounds us.
And isn't it, Karina, as you mentioned a few things, that true awareness, we dismiss it so often because we are not really present with the awareness, as though it is the normal. Yeah, it's normal. We
Mm-hmm.
know what to do. We have this intuition. We follow this, we follow that. That is so, yeah, that we dismiss it. And at the other side, how often it happens when we are aware of something,
Mm-hmm.
and let me say a bigger, as you spoke about the earth, but then we are pulling directly our definitions,
Yeah.
our expectations,
Yeah.
our projections, and then we go along with it as in a certain, yeah, we throw it in a box with definitions, and then we have to act on those definitions,
Yeah.
which in truth is not going with the awareness, because the awareness is
Yeah.
already attached with lies in a way.
Yeah.
It can be that it's not really a lie, but why do I call it a lie? Because it is coming from definitions. It's coming from projections. It's coming from expectations. It's even science you can call in because it's exact. It goes from point A to point B to wherever it wants to go. But those linearities, is that truly awareness?
And what if it's a starting point?
What do you mean? Say more about this
You know,
starting point.
I've never I've n- I've never known about awareness. That is a new concept for me.
Mm-hmm.
And being a head tripper, I need to put definitions on it. So I can't even start to look at awareness. And as I'm willing to do that more and more and more, I learn about awareness and I can eventually move into that non-linear, non-cognitive aspect of awareness.
Do you know, Karina, this brings something clear for me also because you say I'm a head tripper and therefore blah, blah, blah. But isn't it the same as though I was that person that feels everything and wanted to express feelings, which in a way is not different. It is different in which
It
way
is
it
different
comes,
and it's a
but
different
it's
kind
not
of
different
definition.
when we go with definitions, when we go with this
Yeah,
way of looking at it. It is still linear and it
yeah,
is still putting something, putting it in a certain box. The entrance is different, but the
yeah.
box is there. Yeah, yeah.
But
And that was for me a great difference as growing up. And then, yeah, I took so many courses, and it was all about feeling,
mhm,
all about feeling, feeling, feeling. And that starts every day even more to get me to true awareness, coming out of feeling everything. As though I often ask myself now, if I didn't feel this, what would I be aware of?
mhm.
That's a
Great.
question
That is a great
I'm
question.
using. Yeah, I'm using it often. And that is for me to come out of the definitions. I'm getting out of the definitions of the feeling. And also, when I'm feeling it, it's more true. That was the opinion I had. It is more true because I feel it. It's real. It is here. Where awareness is so, yeah, close more.
Yeah, feeling is a solidity, and awareness is just like a wisp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And with feeling, is it also that it started from an awareness, but instead of letting it flow and having awareness after awareness after awareness after awareness, with a feeling, it's grasping an awareness, pulling it in, making it solid, and making that as the starting point
Yeah.
for whatever I'm going to choose. Yeah. Yeah.
And, because my friend that I talked about just popped in, how much are we making external events the reason for a feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what I have gotten in conversations with her. It's almost like, yeah, if that happens, I'm supposed to be feeling this way.
Yeah.
I cannot feel happy.
Yeah, but that is so true what you are mentioning here. It's external. Every way, if it's something for happiness, it's coming outside. The feeling of my happiness comes through whatever it is outside of me.
Yeah,
But even if I'm sad, if I'm angry, if I'm
yeah,
another
whatever.
on the other side, it's coming also externally. Yes, which with awareness, it flows. It flows, and yeah, even you can name it as it's coming, and that's not correct. I would it's not correct what I would say, but because I noticed, I perceived that that would be a lie, as putting it aside of us. We are so much more than our bodies. We are
Mhm.
so much more than our bodies, and that is what makes us unique. Also unique as a living species on earth. Also, we have a body. The body is conscious. The body is intelligent. It knows so
Yeah,
much more than our brain can catch.
I
And that
just
is
want to
awareness.
show a comment that came in. Uh, it's really staying in awareness is expansive. Collapsing it into feelings or
Yeah,
we it's a way of becoming small.
yeah. And the definitions or point of views and the beliefs, etc. That is what it's solidifying. And there, when we do that with feelings, there is so much more awareness we
Yeah,
dismiss about,
yeah,
because we shut so much out with feelings, with thoughts, with emotions. We exclude so many things.
yeah.
But yeah, are we willing? Is there a willingness, a true willingness to be with that, to receive that there is more than what we see, than what we feel, than
Yeah.
what we think? Yeah. As we grow up with yeah, even as a little child, when parents or family or whatever, an adult ask you, what are you going to do when you are growing up,
Yeah.
for your profession? It's all about doing. They don't ask, how will you be? What is the target? And even though, if it would be that they ask, what would you be? Is that, is it even possible to get an answer about that? Because we are always different. Every second, in a matter of speaking, we change. We are different. So if we choose every second to be who we truly are, then we always be what we are.
Contrary to the idea in this reality that I am and therefore I am the same every day, every moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really isn't allowing for the fluctuation of that I am going through.
I can remember with those affirmations, there was always something about it that I couldn't really go with them. There was always something off for me, not really
Mhm.
getting what it was, because how it is presented, in a way, it made sense. But there was something off. And it was when I think it was with a class with Dane of the BNU class. I believe it was with him. I did that. It popped really open, like, wow, it was that about. As the I ams, it was the energy of the defining energy that
Yeah.
was up for me. As it literally, I could sense at that time that it took my breath away, that it was like, yeah, like something really heavy and not movable any longer, but not really knowing what it was about. And then hearing about being as I be and I am, then it exploded completely. And I knew that was the energy I was aware of that was possible, the being energy, and that the I am energy of all those affirmations will not bring me to the I be I
Yeah.
could be choosing. That was the energy.
But if you really look at it, the I am energy uh, puts you into the space of where I do not want to be angry. And I have judged anger as bad. But what if anger is appropriate in that particular moment? And then it's gone. And even from one thing that I've learned ages ago, if you look at the word emotion and put it E-motion, then anger, you have it and it's gone because it's moving through.
Yeah. But I'm laughing also as it happened often that when you have the definition of you are not an angry person or you exclude anger about, but there is something that is messing you up and it brings up that energy, then you have to exclude it. And when someone else is calling you up on the anger they perceive, then there is a, but I am not angry with that angry energy.
Yeah,
I'm not angry.
yeah,
And I found it's not something I tend to use, and it can be that I did it, but I experience it a lot with other people as then they are screaming, I'm not angry. And it is really screaming with all that anger energy, but because of the belief and the definition that they are not an angry person, then they can't be with that energy, even if it is a required energy at that moment
yeah,
to move something.
yeah,
To, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And isn't it, Karina, that we are really completely not aware of the quantity of definitions we live from?
Yeah, yeah. That is a journey of discovery.
That's a journey of discovery, exactly.
Yeah,
And it looks like before I started to say, the more I start to become clear about things or to know more, the more I get that I just don't know anything in a matter of speaking, as there is so much more to explore. But
Yeah.
that's also going on with the definitions. The more aware of all the definitions which from you choose and act and live from, the more it is clear the quantity of definitions we really use and have in our
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much fun can we have with that discovery of all those definitions, all those lies?
Oh, no, 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 no. We need to be serious about that.
Yes, okay, sorry. Sorry. Oh my God. And now I can choose if I'm gonna agree with you. I can choose be myself and choosing the joy I am, and that's what I'm choosing now. So yeah, if you like to be sad and really going with all those definitions and going down, it's up to you, Karina. You can choose it. But this isn't it also going on often as you there are people, when they are sad or angry, their target is to pull you into their
In,
worlds, and then you have to become also the sadness. And when you become the sadness, then you understand them, and then you can set both of you. And that's often how it works, that when you bring in the happiness by a sad person, the first thing they do, the first thing, it can change later on, but the first thing they reject, because it's not computing their
yeah.
definitions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what can we really be to change the world, to
Um,
change everything?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really instead of, you know, it almost seems that this reality requires you to jump into the pool of feelings that the other person is having.
Yeah.
And if we can, instead of having that as an autopilot, if we can make a, it a choice
Yeah.
to jump or not jump, you know, how much more is possible?
Yeah, but even that jumping into the pool of the other, as though I worked with the people, yeah, mental diseases, it is required. And often in the care, it is part of it. You have to be empathic, as it is really saying, and you learn to jump into the pool of them, because when you are in the pool of them, then you get them. That's point of view behind it. Does it work? Not quite.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Did it work at that time? In a certain way, for me, I would say yes, because I believed that that was what I did, which in truth, I was so aware and I allowed myself to be with my awareness, but I played it in the role of the empathic person. Do you
Mhm.
get it? So, and why do I say it like this? Is because I know I was in the team, I was nearly often the one who would say, yeah, but how would it be like this? Did you consider that or that or that, that it could be something that caused it? Or how would it be if someone acted on you like that? What would be your reaction? I said in that time, but that's what I'm saying. I played my role well, in a way, And at the same time, I was really with my awareness. But the role of empathic, I made it bigger because that was how it was meant to be a good person in the team, to be good with the people, to be a good caretaker, or whatever you can call it. That I dismissed even a lot more of what I was aware. So when I dismiss it and I pull it aside, I couldn't be with it. So I couldn't bring that in for change with more ease.
Mm-hmm.
So we needed to go through head or feelings. It is. It
Yeah.
is what is required. No, it is what is required in this reality.
Yes. It is what is required. How it is supposed to be.
Yeah. But what is really required now, could it be that, Earth is really calling up on us and really calling as saying, hey,
Yeah.
what are
Pay
you
attention.
truly aware of? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can create together, co-create with nature,
Yeah.
with Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Great conversation.
Yes, I
And
loved it.
let's see where we go next time.
Yeah, and it will be still on the same time, I believe.
Oh yeah, we'll stay on the same time because I am traveling and still will be traveling and changing time zones somewhat, not as much as I have been. And if it really becomes bad, then time-wise for me, then we can start with a different time. But for right now, let's keep it that way.
Yes, and we go with the flow, Karina.
Yeah, we'll go with the flow.
The flow of happiness. I'm choosing it. I'm choosing it. So
Yeah.
thank you for this conversation, and we see each other next week.
Yes, we'll see each other